It's all fired up and ready to go. You don't know whether you're supposed to, especially in Los Angeles. There are so many rules about dating in Los Angeles. If you meet somebody for the first date, who's the person who's got to follow up next? Is it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days? Am I supposed to text them, or are they supposed to text me? Do I show if I'm too eager, if I make a phone call straight after, or send flowers, or arrive with the U-Haul? I really am a typical, I don't want to cliche anything, but I'm going to say, I am a typical lesbian when it comes to relationships. You know what they say, what do lesbians take to the second date? A U-Haul. What do gay men take to a second date? What second date? Yeah. I'm true. What did you say? What's a first date? But we get so excited about our relationships. And, but I take a U-Haul to the second date, because I always think I'm never going to get a third one, so we may as well put everything out there on that second one. But, we get so fired up and so energized about things in our lives. And then ultimately what happens is we get jaded. We get disappointed. Some people let us down. When you think about how you apply that to your physical lives and your spiritual lives, how many of us have been in churches where we have got so energized and volunteered to do something, and then somebody does something or says something and it jades us? And we think, well, why don't these people, we're supposed to be Christians. We're supposed to be followers of God. Why are people behaving like the world behaves? I thought church people would be different. I've had so many people who have come to me over my many, many years of ministry, and they've said to me, I really thought that this community would be different. And I say to them, but we're still just a reflection of the world. We don't just change because we walk into church, but we do change if we get ourselves ready to put in the hard work of being that countercultural community that says that I don't have to live like the world. I don't have to be a sloth. I don't have to be jaded by my experience, but rather I can wake up fresh every morning and say, my God, journey with me through this day. And invite the Holy Spirit into our lives at the beginning of every moment, every day, so that we don't get jaded, so that we put upon us that protection. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I get just as jaded as anybody else. There are times I have to phone our vice moderator, our board of directors, and I go, oh, Dennis. I get jaded just like everybody else. But I want to tell you, I've surrounded myself with good people. And, Dennis will say to me, it's okay, Neil, just keep on moving, keep going forward, keep being all that you can be. I want to thank Dennis this morning because he's really been a minister to me in these last few months. And I want to thank you publicly in this congregation, as so many of you have. But this is a relationship that I've counted on and valued in these last few months, and so I want to thank you. We get jaded in all sorts of ways. The real sin of sloth is not giving our best, is not giving our fullest attention, is not engaging in all that we possibly can be because of the generosity of God, because of all that is out there for us. And we get jaded in so many different ways, as we've said, but the reality is this morning that we're called to re-engage. We're called to find our passion one more time. We're called to be about God's work in new ways. And if we've found ourselves jaded, or we thought, well, going to church on a Sunday is enough, or we've thought that, well, just picking up my Bible on the high holidays, or to be present just when I feel like it, perhaps we're being challenged this morning to ask ourselves about being more enthusiastic, more passionate about who we are, more passionate about our relationships with each other, more passionate about the God that we seek. And if we've got ourselves into a rut this morning, if we're suffering from that sin of sloth, of just laying back and letting it all happen around us and then get disappointed when it doesn't meet our needs. Right. Oh, did that ouch just a little bit? Right. That if we're at that place this morning, perhaps we're being called just to step up our game just a little bit more, and to step it up in such a way that we get to re-engage with life, re-engage with passion, re-engage with what God is calling us to do. So as I've said at the closing of all of these sermons, none of this is done to beat us up or to browbeat us or to make us feel guilty, but to call us to think again and to ask ourselves, where is it that I'm laying back and just letting it all happen? Where is it that I've not engaged in my own spiritual journey? Where is it that I've taken people and places and things for granted? Where is it that I could do something different today that would make a difference not only in my own life, but would make a difference in the church, make a difference in my relationship, make a difference in such a way that I would be able to find the passion one more time? So don't just lay back in that place with your tail and the TV in front of you and the popcorn and the juice next to you, expecting everyone else to rally around and to refill the popcorn and to refill the juice. But perhaps this morning we could step up and say, I want to re-engage with life in such a way that when God comes back, God will find me busy. God will find me busy, engaged in life. So I invite you, as I invite myself, because we're in this together. You know, just because I get to stand up here on the podium each Sunday doesn't mean that my life is any better or any worse than yours, but rather we're in this boat together. And that's what I like about being a part of this community, is that we get to do this together. And so as we revamp all of our programs and all of our ministries and all the things that we're a part of, perhaps you could be thinking about, what can I do? What can I do to bring new people into my life? What can I do to bring new people into this congregation? I want to tell you, when new people first walk into this building, now it's been remodeled, there's that wow factor. You know, this is Metropolitan Community Church 40 years later, and we get to travel first class in this building. And yet there is still much, much more for us to do. So may God re-engage us as we re-engage God this morning to do that hard work of spiritual maturity. And may God be around us so that when others came into this place, they look at us and they say, good grief, those people really believe. Those people really act on what they believe. And that those people in that church give me hope that I too might take a second chance on God. God's blessing upon you this morning. May the God of all ages surround us and bless us. And will you pray with me?